Every single person watching this right now has something inside of them that's been buried. A fire, a purpose, a version of you that's been silenced by fear, or by comfort, by doubt, by procrastination. You've been saying you're waiting for the right time, but deep down you know the right time never comes. Life doesn't hand out perfect moments. It hands out challenges, chaos, and pain, and it's in those moments that greatness is built. You've been playing it safe, telling yourself stories to stay comfortable, but comfort never made a warrior. Comfort never made a leader. Comfort never built a legacy. Every person you admire, every name that echoes through history, they all had one thing in common. They didn't wait for the stars to align. They created alignment through action. They moved even when it hurt. They believed even when no one else did. Let's be real. You've been talking about what you're gonna do for too long. You've been telling people your plans, showing them your dreams, posting quotes about your goals, but where's the work? Where's the grind? Where's the grind? Where's the execution? You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another quote. You need to stop thinking and start moving. Because every second you spend overthinking is a second you're losing to someone who's already in motion. The world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards execution. You don't get paid for potential, you get paid for results. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you never use it, it dies with you. And that's the reality most people never want to face. They're dying full of ideas, full of dreams, full of possibilities that never made it to reality because they never had the courage to begin, but not you. Not anymore. This is where it changes. This is where the talking ends and the doing begins. This is where you stop caring about what people think and start building something they can't ignore. You've got to stop being addicted to motivation and start being addicted to discipline. You've got to become obsessed with your own growth, with your own development, with your own evolution. Because the truth is, you can have excuses or you can have progress, but you can't have both. You can't keep saying someday like you got all the time in the world. Someday is a myth. Someday is a graveyard where dreams go to die. You either move now or you never will. So if you're watching this, this is your sign. This is your wake-up call. Life is not waiting for you to feel ready. It's daring you to show up. The question is, will you? Will you rise up, face your fear, and take that first step? Because the ones who win in life aren't the smartest, the richest, or the luckiest. They're the ones who started when everyone else was still thinking about it. So stop waiting. Stop wishing. Just start. Stop waiting for the perfect moment because it will never come. You keep telling yourself that once the conditions are right, you'll begin. Once you have more time, once you feel more ready, once you get that approval, that sign, that extra push, then you'll finally start chasing what you've been dreaming of. But deep down, you know that's a lie. Your fear whispers to keep you still. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Opportunity doesn't arrive neatly wrapped with a clear schedule. The people who change their lives, the ones who make something out of nothing, are the ones who move before the timing feels right. They step into the unknown, not because they're fearless, but because they're done letting fear dictate their timeline. You've been planning, talking, and thinking about it long enough. You've got the notes, the ideas, the vision board, but no movement. The truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect start. It's only now. The world doesn't reward the ones who sit back analyzing, waiting for a sign. It rewards the ones who take messy, uncertain, and perfect action. The moment you decide to move, even if your hands are shaking, even if you're scared, even if you don't know how it's all going to work, you separate yourself from 99% of people who will keep waiting for the right day that never comes. The reason most people never reach their potential isn't because they lack talent, intelligence, or even resources. It's because they wait. They wait for the stars to align, for life to calm down, for confidence to magically appear. But waiting kills dreams faster than failure ever will. The people who win are the ones who say, I'll figure it out as I go. They know that momentum creates mastery. You can't think your way to greatness. You have to do your way to greatness. When you tell yourself you'll start when you're ready, what you're really saying is that you're not willing to be uncomfortable. You're trying to escape the growing pains that come with starting something new. But discomfort is the price of growth. It's the tuition you pay to evolve. Every person you admire, every athlete, artist, entrepreneur, leader, started with uncertainty. They didn't have it all figured out. They stumbled, they doubted, they fell, but they began. That's what makes the difference. The act of beginning is more powerful than any plan you'll ever write. Think about this. Every dream has an expiration date if you never act on it. The idea that burns inside of you today won't stay there forever. Life will bury it under responsibility, fear, and excuses. You have to move while that fire still burns. You have to take that idea and breathe life into it before it fades into regret. Because regret, that's the heaviest pain you ever carry. Not the pain of failure, not the pain of embarrassment, but the pain of knowing you could have and you didn't. The perfect moment is a lie because there's no such thing as a life without obstacles. There will always be something in the way. Money, time, people, doubt. But that's the test. The challenge is meant to see if you truly want it. If you wait for your path to be clear before you move, you'll never move at all. The path clears because you move. Every step forward creates the next one. You won't see the whole staircase. You only see the first step. But that step is enough. That step is everything. The truth is, nobody ever feels 100% ready to begin. Nobody wakes up one day with every fear erased, every doubt silenced. Readiness is a myth, built by procrastination and perfected by fear. But courage means taking the step even when you don't feel prepared. Courage is starting before you have permission. Courage is trusting that you'll learn along the way. And when you finally start, truly start, something changes inside of you. You begin to see that all the waiting was an illusion. The fear that held you back starts to shrink. You realize that the act of beginning gives you power. Movement creates confidence. Action creates belief. Every time you take a small step, your mind starts to understand that you're not the same person who was waiting yesterday. You're someone who moves, someone who builds, someone who fights back against doubt. You can plan your whole life, but at some point you have to leap. The jump is terrifying because it's the point of no return. But that's what growth demands, a leap of faith in yourself. You might not have all the answers, but you don't need them. The answers come through doing. The path reveals itself through walking. That's why people who act always seem lucky. It's not luck, it's motion. They move and life moves with them. Ask yourself this, how long are you going to keep waiting? Another week, another month, another year? The clock doesn't stop for your hesitation. Every second you waste is a second someone else is using to build their dream. Someone else is taking action while you're still preparing. There's nothing wrong with being afraid, but there's something wrong with letting fear paralyze you. Fear will always exist. It's supposed to, but you have to move with it. Let fear ride with you. Just don't let it drive. Starting isn't about perfection. It's about faith. Faith in yourself. Faith in your ability to figure things out. You don't have to see the full picture right now. You just have to trust that each move you make brings it into focus. The first step always feels like the hardest, but once you take it, everything begins to shift. You start to see momentum build, energy grow, and doors open that you didn't even know existed. Stop telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a trap. It's the biggest lie you tell yourself to feel better about not acting today. If you want change, start now. Not next week, not next year, not next year. Now, right where you are with what you have. Because the perfect moment won't show up until you do. The life you want is waiting, but it's not waiting forever. You can't talk your way into success. You have to walk your way into it. You don't need another sign. You don't need another plan. You just need to move. Because once you start, even if you crawl, even if you stumble, even if you fall flat, you're still further than the person who's still waiting. Progress doesn't belong to the perfect. It belongs to the persistent. The moment you stop waiting for the perfect time and decide to start, that's the moment your new life begins. So stop waiting, stop doubting, stop overthinking. The time is now. The opportunity is already here. You just have to step into it. Because life rewards those who act, not those who wait. The second keynote, stop waiting for the perfect moment, is the one that separates the dreamers from the doers. It's where the majority of people fail before they even start, because they convince themselves that the conditions aren't right yet. They say things like, I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I have more money. I'll start when I feel ready. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. The stars will never align. The fear will never completely go away. The path will never be smooth enough, and the timing will never be perfect. Perfection is a lie that kills more dreams than failure ever could. You're not supposed to wait for perfect. You're supposed to create progress in the middle of imperfection. That's what separates those who make it from those who stay stuck forever. They start despite not being ready. You see, the person who waits for everything to be perfect is secretly afraid. They don't want progress. They want comfort disguised as preparation. They want control. They want certainty. But growth doesn't come from certainty. It comes from chaos. The greatest transformations of your life will come from moments that are messy, confusing, and unpredictable. Waiting for perfection is like waiting for the ocean to stop moving before you learn how to swim. It will never happen. The only way to learn, to grow, to build, to evolve is to dive in while the waves are still crashing. The truth is most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they never start. They overthink, they overanalyze. They let doubt sit in the driver's seat while their potential suffocates in the back. They want every answer before they take the first step. But that's not how success works. You figure it out on the way. You learn through the process. Every master you admire once started as a beginner who took the first imperfect step. Every empire began with a messy first move. Every legend you look up to once stood exactly where you are now. Scared, uncertain, unsure of what comes next. But they moved anyway. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for conditions to be right. They started when it was ugly, when it was hard, when it didn't make sense. You have to understand that movement creates momentum, and momentum creates mastery. The hardest part is not the journey, it's the start. Once you start, things begin to shift. You begin to see progress, and that progress builds your confidence. But if you never start, you'll never experience that transformation. You'll just sit on the sidelines of your own life, watching others live the life you could have had. You'll make excuses to hide your fear. You'll say, I'm waiting for the right time, but what you really mean is I'm scared to fail. But here's the secret. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. You don't need the right time. You need courage. You need grit. You need grit. You need to be willing to move before you're ready. You can't master anything without first being terrible at it. You can't find your rhythm until you stumble a few times. You can't become confident until you face what scares you. The longer you wait, the weaker your fire gets. Action is the fuel that keeps your inner drive alive. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, that flame burns a little lower. Every time you postpone your dreams, you're training your mind to accept delay as a lifestyle. And the problem with delay is that it doesn't just steal your time, it steals your belief. You start doubting yourself. You start questioning if you're even capable. That's why starting now, in all your imperfection, is the most powerful thing you can do. Because when you start now, you teach your mind to trust you again. You prove to yourself that you're not a talker, you're a doer. Think about how many people took their first step with nothing. They didn't have all the money. They didn't have the perfect plan. They didn't have all the answers. But they started, they moved, they tried. And because they started, they learned. Because they started, they grew. Because they started, they built something that others only dreamed of. That's the difference between those who talk about change and those who live it, action. The ones who win in life are not always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who said, I'm done waiting, I'm going to move now. Every dream has an expiration date if you don't act on it. Every idea fades if it's not backed by motion. The moment you start, even if it's small, you begin to separate yourself from 90% of the world. Because most people will never take that first step. They'll stay in the cycle of waiting, planning, and preparing forever, but not you. You've got to be the one who says, I may not be ready, but I'm starting anyway. Because once you move, life begins to respond. Opportunities start showing up. People start appearing. Doors begin to open that you didn't even know existed. But none of that happens until you move. Stop waiting for the fear to go away. It won't. Stop waiting for the plan to be perfect. It won't. Stop waiting for approval, support, or validation. You don't need any of that. The only thing you need is movement, because when you move, the fear starts losing power. When you act, the doubt starts to fade. When you take that first imperfect step, you begin to realize that all along, it wasn't the world holding you back. It was you. So if you want to change your life, if you want to build something real, if you want to see what you're truly made of, stop waiting and just start. Start before you're ready. Start before it makes sense. Start before the fear disappears. Start while your hands are shaking, while your heart is racing, while your mind is full of uncertainty. Start messy, start small, start scared. But just start. Because the truth is, if you don't move now, one day you'll look back and wish you had. You'll wish you had taken that chance when the fire inside you was still burning. Don't let hesitation kill your potential. The perfect moment is now. The perfect time is the one you choose. Every great story begins the same way, with a single uncertain step forward. Because one day, that same pressure that once broke you will become the reason you never break again. The rejection that used to crush you will become your motivation. The pain that once made you cry will become your power. The fear that once held you back will become the force that drives you forward. That's what happens when you stop running from discomfort. It becomes your armor. Think about how growth actually works. A seed has to break apart before it becomes a tree. A butterfly has to struggle inside its cocoon before it can fly. Even gold has to endure fire before it shines. The process is never pretty, but it's always necessary. You can't skip it. You can't fast forward through it. You can't pray it away. You have to endure it because the version of you that's on the other side of discomfort is everything you've been chasing. Confidence, discipline, resilience, power. The biggest mistake people make is thinking that once they feel discomfort, something is wrong. They think the pain means stop. But in reality, the pain means progress. It means you're stretching beyond your limits. It means you're becoming someone new. You got to rewire your mind to see discomfort as the sign that you're in the right place. When it gets hard, when you start to doubt yourself, when the fear gets loud, that's your moment to push harder. That's the moment most people quit, but it's also the moment that defines everything. If you can stay in the fire long enough, you'll come out unrecognizable, sharper, stronger, hungrier, more focused than ever. You've got to stop chasing easy. Easy gives you nothing. Comfort builds nothing. The world will not reward your intentions. It rewards your endurance. You don't become powerful by staying safe. You become powerful by facing everything that scared you and doing it anyway. That's how you build a mind that can't be broken. A heart that won't quit and a will that doesn't bend. Every time you push through the pain, you send a message to your mind. I'm not weak anymore. Every time you move forward despite the discomfort, you reprogram yourself to believe that nothing can stop you. And eventually, you'll start to see life differently. Shunni, you won't be afraid of challenges anymore. You'll seek them. You won't hide from pressure. You'll use it to sharpen yourself. You won't fear the discomfort. You'll understand it's the price of transformation. Because you'll know the truth. Greatness isn't found in what's easy. It's found in what's hard. It's found in the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, the failures, the setbacks, the grind that nobody sees. It's found in your ability to stay disciplined when no one's watching, to stay consistent when you feel nothing, to stay focused when everything is falling apart. That's what it means to embrace discomfort, to choose growth even when it hurts. So don't run from the pain. Don't avoid the struggle. Don't pray for the path to be easier. Pray to become stronger. Every time you feel like quitting, remind yourself, this is the moment where this is the moment where I separate myself from the rest. This is the moment where I earn my power. You're not supposed to stay comfortable. You're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to challenge yourself. You're supposed to become the kind of person who can handle anything life throws your way. And that only happens when you decide to stop fearing the fire and start walking through it. Embrace the discomfort. Welcome it. Live in it, because that's where the real transformation begins. Growth isn't something you wait for. It's something you earn through the pain you're willing to endure. The more discomfort you embrace, the more unstoppable you become. So when it gets hard, when it gets painful, when it gets lonely, don't stop, smile, smile. Because that's the universe molding you into your greatest self at the end of the day. Everything you want in this life is waiting on the other side of your excuses, your comfort, and your hesitation. You've got dreams sitting in the shadows, waiting for you to finally take yourself seriously, waiting for you to stop talking and start executing. You keep saying you want it, but your actions don't match your words. You say you want success, but you keep giving energy to distractions. You say you want change, but you keep holding on to habits that keep you stuck. There comes a moment where you have to look in the mirror and decide, are you done playing small? Are you done playing small? Are you done letting fear and laziness write your story? Because life won't wait. The world doesn't slow down for you to figure it out. If you want it, you've got to move now. You've got to understand nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you the life you dream about. It's on you. It's always been on you. The pain, the struggle, the obstacles, they're not there to destroy you. They're there to shape you. Every setback you faced was building your resilience. Every failure you felt was preparing your foundation. Every loss you've endured was teaching you how to win. But none of that matters if you don't use it. None of that means anything if you stay stuck in your old mindset. You've got to take all that pain, all that frustration, all that disappointment, and turn it into power. You've got to take your struggle and make it your strength. Right now, this is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when everything feels perfect. Now. Because every second you waste waiting for the right time is another second you lose becoming who you were meant to be. You can't keep living like you've got forever. You don't. Every day you waste, someone else is out there grinding, building, growing, mastering their craft. And that's the person you'll be competing against. You've got to wake up with urgency, move with intention, and live with purpose. You got to lock in and refuse to let anything stop you. So here's the truth. Your breakthrough isn't waiting on luck, it's waiting on discipline. Your success isn't hiding behind talent, it's hiding behind consistency. Your dream life isn't somewhere far away, it's just on the other side of effort. The moment you decide that you're done settling for less, the moment you stop being afraid of hard work, the moment you stop waiting for approval, that's the moment your whole life changes. You've got to make a decision to be relentless, to be focused, to be unstoppable. So when the pain comes, welcome it. When it gets hard, stay locked in. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself why you started. Because the real reward isn't in the trophies, the money, or the fame. It's in knowing you didn't let life break you. It's in becoming the version of yourself that no one thought you could be. That's what this is about. Becoming unstoppable, becoming undeniable, becoming the person who doesn't need to say a word because your work speaks loud enough. So stop talking and start doing. Shut out the noise, silence the doubts, and grind until your reality catches up to your vision.